Hello, Tom.
Hello, sir.
Hello, everybody else who's listening. Welcome back to another episode of ClassHorrorCast. Myself and Tom, or Tom and I, whatever you want to call it, and Billy in spirit are back again to talk about another movie, one that we're probably both excited about. I think I seen this first, right? You've only seen this recently.
I think you did. Yeah, you did.
A movie that I went into originally, so I try to see like as many movies as I can from like the horror or horror adjacent genre.
How many years do you think you have consumed? Because hours would be like it, but like I'm sure years.
I don't want to even think about it.
Maybe like 10 years, maybe 8 years.
And then I wasted the other 10. So really, I'm only like 14 years of age.
Yeah, it's true. So funny.
But
you're
yeah,
like that, you're like Mole Man from The Simpsons.
Yikes.
I'm only 26.
That's kind of, yeah. But I don't look like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, a movie I went into with no expectations. Didn't really care to see it, if I'm honest. I kind of just went because I was like, you know what, let me just check this out. It's just going to be some more garbage thing that I'm not going to care about. And came out like pleasantly surprised.
You know what?
I had told you multiple times about it, and I don't know what your initial thoughts are.
Why I wanted to see it was because of Dave Franco. I'm a fan of the Francos. Bring back James Franco. I forgive him for whatever he's done. I heard he is actually coming back. That he's working on new projects. It is funny how Hollywood does that. And even if he did some like really bad stuff, dude, just send him away for a bit and then have him come back and everyone will forget. But I was a big fan of James Franco, right? Like there's so many movies, Pineapple Express, like even that show. What's that one show? Geeks, Freaks and Geeks. Like when he started his career, there's so many things I can think of. Spider-Man. So Dave Franco came along, right? And he did Neighbors, and he was so good in Neighbors. It was so funny. Like that movie is like top tier comedy. Like that's when comedy was like still good. It's not anymore. But like when Seth Rogen was seen to be like getting in his prime essentially. And I just like Dave Franco. He reminds me of his brother, but he has a slightly different acting style. So I was like, it'd be interesting to see him in something like this. Right. And I had no idea what I was going into. I saw like the trailers and I wish I stopped doing because it'd be better to go in blind. And I was like, I really want to watch this. So we watched it, and me and the wife, and she was real uncomfortable in some of the parts. And I was just like, this is awesome.
Did she enjoy the movie?
Yeah, she liked it. It was different, right? Yeah. She is a horror fan, but she even said now, I don't know if it's the mother hormones thing, but she was like, I don't like the some of these. She really liked Weapons, but she's like some of like the graphic, like the gore and stuff like that, or like some of the scary aspects of film. She's like hiding, and I'm telling her what it is. When you know what I mean. I think she said during Weapons, she's like, "Is it over yet?" Or like whatever scary scene. And
I wish. In a way, I kind of wish I felt like that still. Like I do.
I'm like this, like Clockwork Orange, man.
Yeah, dude. Like it's very seldom now where something actually like creeps me out or gets me now. Every now and again, a jump scare or something like that might get me.
I will say this movie did get me of being like, there's a lot of horror movies I watch and I'm like, hum ho, that expression is. Whatever, I take it or leave it. Like I didn't really like Sinners. Like there's aspects I liked about it, but there was other stuff I just didn't like about it. And it didn't like. I didn't find that it was unique in the way that I thought it was going to be. Like I thought that it was kind of the same story that they've done before with vampires and stuff.
Now, I will say I saw Sinners in the cinema when it came out, and I think that probably had a big effect on how I felt about it at the time. I don't know if I watched that back on a small screen, am I going to be like, nah?
I just felt like it was kind of generic. Like it was a lot like it was just other horror. Like,
it did have a bit of like Dusk Till Dawn sort of a thing.
But like this, there's some movies that I'm like, I get amped up a bit. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Like if I get that out of a movie, then then I'm impressed by it, you know, that it's done its job of that kind of reacting to it and having you know, if you're watching a horror movie, you're just like, oh, okay, and then it's like the rest of the movie's just little like jump scares. It doesn't really do as much like. But with this, there's only so many movies that can really give you that gut reaction of like, oh, that's messed up, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this
Not me.
definitely has it. I actually don't know if I've said up until this point, but what we are covering is the 2025 movie Together, a supernatural body horror slash horror sci-fi, written and directed by Michael Shanks in his feature-length directorial debut, which is honestly, when you watch the movie and then find out this is his first feature-length film, you're like,
Yo, it's a
wow,
banger,
that's
bro.
fucking serious.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big thing to live up to for your second movie.
Yeah, it's true. It's a wild one.
As Tom said, Dave Franco plays Tim Brassington, and Alison Brie plays his partner in the movie, and
That was
she's also
Alison
his.
Brie.
Yeah,
Yo,
she's.
isn't that bitch part of that cult? Isn't
I
she
don't
in
know. They're
Nexium?
married. So,
What?
and they're married in real life.
Isn't she part of Nexium? Was she not in the Nexium cult?
I have no idea.
Okay, well you go through this. I'm gonna look this up.
So yeah, they're a married couple in real life. So plot overview. The film follows a couple at a crossroads in their long-term relationship who move to the countryside. After a strange encounter with an unnatural force, their relationship and even their bodies begin to change in increasingly unsettling ways. Yeah, there is a little bit more to
Okay,
I suppose.
I was wrong. There is no evidence or connection. That was Allison Mack. My bad. Sorry, I didn't mean to call her a bitch.
We'll redact everything.
Yes,
that Tom
redact
said
what
there.
I said because I was like, we'll cover on Strange Brew sometime. But I thought that I just remember the name Allison being connected to that weird cult. So not her. My bad.
So another bit to kind of, I guess, extend on with the plot, with tensions already flaring, having abandoned all that is familiar in their lives, bar each other, a nightmarish encounter with a mysterious force threatens to corrupt their lives, love, and their flesh.
It's so interesting because it's different though. Like it kept my attention the whole time, and I will say their acting was superb. And that's why you don't really a lot of times like, and there was no subversive stuff and things that I wouldn't like about certain movies or whatever in it. And but I noticed that the acting was really on par. And some of these movies, there's something another one we talked about recently, and it's just like you can have like, you know, maybe 3 or 4 characters at the most in some movies, and if their acting is on point, it will carry the entire film. You don't need all these extra people or extra things. If you have a good story and a good plot within a movie, this is proof that like you only need a couple of like key characters and you can make it into like a good movie, you know, just like a creepy, weird, like you don't need all the fluff sometimes, you know,
It's written
introducing
really
a million
well.
characters. Yeah.
Like the dialogue and stuff is great, and all the different set pieces, like everything kind of works like together cohesively. And look, I'm people have probably figured out by now. So I love mindless horror. I love just like generic slasher movies with no real, you know, they have
Me
the
too.
vague
Some of those are my
backstory.
favorite. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like the vague backstory of like the kid you bullied in school is now back to murder you when you're in your 20s. I don't mind all those things. I love all that stuff, but I also love movies that try and dig a bit deeper and talk about other stuff. And I'm not talking about like political or race baiting or anything like that. I'm talking about like actual human things that anybody can go through from any part of the world in any circumstance. And this one I think does that. Like there's a lot of you know, underpinnings about love, codependency, identity, transformation as you, I guess, age up or whatever and move on in life, all the changes you go through, but you're still you inside, but you're not you on the outside because your circumstances change. You become a parent or this or that. Like there's a lot of things here I think at play, which I found really interesting.
So it was pretty good. Aaron, do you have you ever felt that way in life? You know, trapped in a relationship or something?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
And
why I feel like
it's such an
stuff like this
interesting
speaks to
concept.
me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's like I feel like it speaks to a lot of people, right? And it's like, but there's two sides to every story, right? It is
Yeah,
crazy,
100%. But I feel like, things like this, people can connect with from varying angles. And it's something I'll bring up in a while. But like, I think you can look at this from both aspects as well, both male and female. And it doesn't really matter which sex you are either.
No,
Like,
because
I felt like,
yeah, I felt like
go
both
ahead.
because I've felt suffocated in a relationship and felt like too clingy and stuff, and I've also felt that way where somebody thought that about me, right?
Yep.
So it's gone both ways in my life, right? And I think that's for
Same.
most people. There's times I've been in relationships or whatever, or I know of people and they fall in love and absolutely love them, and then behind the scenes they don't know that the person is like maybe having second thoughts or feeling it's too much, and then you're like in this, together, and then all of a sudden somebody wants out of it, and the other person is like it destroys them, right? Like, yeah, I've talked to you about this before. Like, if me and Chelsea ever like divorced or whatever, it would be like a death. Me and her have talked about because
Hmm.
it's like because we've known each other for so long and been connected for so long. If we had to finally put that nail in the coffin or whatever, it would be like somebody died. That's like the sadness that you would feel essentially, right?
It's funny, like, because I was looking at an interview with the director, Michael Shanks, earlier. And he said that the story was written based around his relationship with his wife. Um, he's similar age to us. I think he's like 34, 33, 34, somewhere around there. He's been with his wife for 16 years. And he
Yeah.
was like, I was sitting there one day and I just had this thought about like, okay, I've been with her since I was a child, essentially. So I don't know any adult life that doesn't include her. He was
Yeah,
like,
that's wow, that's true. Yeah.
we live in the same house, we eat the same meals, we breathe the same air, we do the same things. Like, and he was like, that's all I've known for my entire adult life. And he was like, I just had the thought of like, you know, I can't really remember who I was before her. And then I'm like, who am I without her? Or like, what does that mean for me? Like, am I even a person anymore? Or have we become this like unit where neither of us are us? We're like, we're not two separate entities anymore. We're like this thing that's
Yes.
together now. And I can't imagine if we separated how that would work
Yeah,
for
it's
either of
such
us.
a clever, like, it's so good. I feel like, man, if I like, I could, you asked me, you're surprised I've never wrote in a book, and I have no time for that right now, but I'm like, what would I do? Like, you know what I mean? Because, like, it's interesting to just come up those ideas, and if you get a good enough one and then you really explain it in a thought out way, you can get something like this that I think is, like making fun of comedy, or comedy has gone down the road other than maybe shows, but, horror is there's good and bad. There's good things coming out, and there's things that are like I think are like, what's the point of even releasing that? That's a dumb concept. Or you're repeating the same process and same thing and just making these generic horror movies. But there's been recently times in this last couple of years that they've put out some really inventive horror movies, and this is definitely one of them.
Last year, I feel like was a really good. I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, last year was a really good year for horror, and like, I kind of hope 2026 follows suit. I wanna,
Yeah.
I wanna get like 4 or 5 at least movies that both of us kind of get blindsided by. Movies like this where you're like, wow, I did not expect this to be this good and make me enjoy. Like, I feel like you could watch if you were someone who just watches movies at a surface level, you can enjoy this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're also people like us who maybe like to sometimes dig deeper, you can enjoy it even more because there's
Yeah. I
like
know.
a lot more stuff there that you can talk about.
I know, because I might start doing that on Friday nights. I got to build up content for Patreon. So I was like, there's a movie called Metropolis from like the 1930s, and it's like kind of an Orwellian, creepy movie, and like weird, and has a lot of symbolism and occult stuff in it. And I'm like, I'll start doing some watch alongs of things that I'd like interest me, right? Because like taking these movies and analyzing them is interesting, right? Despite what people may think, entertainment is programming. They're programming you. That's why it's called television programs. They're programming you, right, with thoughts and feelings and things to invoke reactions out of you. Some positive and some definitely negative, right? So it's like it's interesting and how it films will invoke those thoughts, like this one of like it's so good. There's so many things where he's like when he's like, oh man, there's so many good parts where he's like in the shower and she's driving away and he's like, and like going with the car and he's starting to feel the effects. So maybe we should, for this one, maybe start a little bit at the beginning of like,
Yeah, I didn't even know how to go about this because I was like
know.
making some graphics and stuff, and I was like, I don't want to go beat for beat, but then also I nearly want to talk about like every like the progression of the whole thing.
Yeah, because it starts off with them just, you know, they're moving into a new
Something
place,
else
right?
before we get into that, actually, there's something else here as well that the director said. He was like, the character of Tim, like Dave Franco's character, he was like, I kind of based it around me, and how I felt. He was like, you know, the idea of, you know, getting into your early 30s or whatever, pursuing goals and dreams, and maybe like everybody else has moved on, and you probably know there's people in your life that are looking at you going, just drop it, just stop, just drop that thing you're trying to do. Whether it, like he talked about, you know, people want to be musicians, people want to be actors, people want to do anything creative, I guess, that if at that point it hasn't become a full-time career, there's a lot of people in your life who may look at you and be like, you know, it's time to not do that. And he was like, so I based him around that, like where he's kind of
like us, you know?
yeah, that's why it was like, that's how it made me feel. I was like, that feels like me. And I do actually feel like that. And, you know, he was like, you know, it asked the question of like, you know, am I that guy? How am I being viewed by others? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Should I let go of it? Am I doing the wrong thing? Do I need to stop? Like, am I just chasing something? Am I trying to escape something else by doing this? And he was like, all those feelings in me made me think, you know what, like this is something that I could make into a movie that could speak to everybody in a different way. Because it doesn't really matter what the, you know, whether it's music or whether it's drawing or whatever. I'm sure a lot of people in life have that feeling where you're like, I don't know. Like, we've talked about this about the shows and stuff. Like sometimes you're like, should I just fucking,
I know. I get like that all the time where it's like
just switch it off and just forget about it.
I love doing the show and it developed our friendship by doing this, right? But there is times everyone gets like that. And I know other podcasters and people that are like, is there a point of doing this and stuff like that? I get like that even about my music, but I'm like, but you know, there's all these thousands of people are listening to the show, to my music. So I'm like, I gotta push through and try to be, I can't not be creative. I don't know what else the hell I would be doing. Like, that's why I'm pushing for us to make this into a career from both of our shows and stuff. Cause like, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to talk shit. You know, I think I'm pretty good at it. And I want to like,
Same.
you know, it's like, and people like, you know, like Gordo said, right? If there's so many people that stop doing it and fail, and you know, there's a lot of people who are uplifted because of algorithms are being paid for them to be in some, or being shadow banned like on us and Strange Brew and stuff. And it's just like, you got to keep pushing through because you never know.
Like the amount of times like I train and teach jujitsu, and the amount of times like that I thought about, like I've just been like, oh, I'm fucking garbage. Like, you know, there's a lot more younger guys in the gym now. They're taller, they're more athletic, they're this, they're that. And I'm like, should I just fucking pack this in? And then like some of the black belts will have like they're good friends of mine. Maybe not so much outside the gym, but like within the gym. And like they'll be like, dude, it's not about who's good though. It's about who's left. You just have to stick around long enough. That's how anybody gets wherever. Like,
I wish I had
stick
that.
Around.
Off topic, but yeah, I wish I want to do kickboxing or something. Like I'm training myself to some extent, but like realize I need to get my shit together and get stronger. But like it's like you know, it's like more camaraderie too because you meet people and stuff. Like I don't know about rolling around on a mat with a guy. I just want to fucking punch people and spar.
I always felt weird about that at first, and now it just seems like second nature to me. But when someone new comes into the club, I can tell like instantly when I put my hands on them that they're like, whoa.
Of course, right? My brother-in-law just opened like a grappling place, and because he does like, I think he's done some jiu-jitsu or whatever, but they opened his own fucking thing with some other people and doing like, it's called some grappling tree or some weird thing like that, but. I was like, good for him, right? It's interesting. And he's really into wrestling, which I was never into, like tights, fucking weird headgear. looking like a weird nerd.
Yeah, we
looking
didn't
like
even have that over here.
yeah, so weird. It's like I just think of like those two dudes on the mat, and they're just like skin tight spandex,
Yeah, that's what
fucking
we're
so
with. Like
looking like Andre the Giant.
just one giant ball.
Yeah, I know. Yes. So it is interesting because they're just like back to the movie. It's like they're moving into a new place, and they're kind of like trying to figure it out. He doesn't drive, right? So then
It's a really weird sort of like
so
when
he's
they start
dependent
off
on her.
and she does that like weird fake proposal with the invisible ring.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
And like it's just really awkward because he's like, "Oh, are you fucking joking?" And she's
Yeah.
like, "No, I'm being serious." And like everybody's watching. He's like, and she just stands up and she's like, "Forget about it." He's like, "No, no, of course, yeah, yeah, cool, great, wow." And you're like, I don't know whether to feel bad for her or is like he the problem or do I feel bad for him? And I felt like I done that throughout the story. Like at one
Mm.
point, I was like,
Yeah,
"Wow, she's a fucking bitch."
yeah.
And
I
then at other
agree.
points, I was like, "Wow, he's actually really like naggy and needy and kind of a bitch as well."
Yeah, it's true. It pulls. And I just thought like I was like, oh, that's progressive. A female asking a man, right? But then I'm like, at least have a ring, bitch. He just
Yeah, it's a
backhands her.
weird one, isn't it?
Like, where's my ring? You know what I mean? Like it is. And I would probably react the same way. You're at a party. You're like with all your homies, and then it's like this fake. And it's just like I'd be uh, like you're kidding, right? Like this is not a real thing because you don't have a real symbolism of like the ring, right?
But it's so funny though. Like they do it so well. It's acted so well. I can feel the like
Yes, me
without
too.
them
Yeah.
even saying anything. I can feel the we've been together for so long. We don't know what else to do. But we
Yes.
both know we probably shouldn't be together anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But like you kind of go through the motions because all your friends are around and everybody's watching, and you have to be like, hey, yeah, we're gonna like. And the thing of like moving to the countryside to try and like I don't know reconnect or like
Yeah.
figure out your shit. It's just like I think we've all been there. I can't imagine there's going to be one person that listens to this that can't relate in some relationship in their life where they were like, yeah, I should have just gotten out of that way before.
Yeah, I know, because I think that's everyone goes through that, right? And then it's just interesting that he's dependent on her because he can't drive and stuff like that. And then they're like, gonna go on a nice hike together.
So if you want to take this away, you can.
Early dialogue and interaction show them trying to hide deeper fears about commitment, intimacy, and whether they truly know each other. From the beginning, Tim and is it Miley?
Millie, I think is how they pronounce it.
Millie's relationship isn't smooth. Oh, yeah, it is Millie. They've moved into the countryside in hopes of reconnecting after an emotional drift and an unresolving issues. Tim is a struggling musician. Millie is starting a new job as a teacher, and the move is meant to be a fresh start.
And again, like it's that thing where, at the start at least, it's like he's dependent on her. She's kind of has like the adult job.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to be a teacher. She's going to be doing something that society deems as like a worthy thing.
Yes.
And then he's just kind of like the bitch, kind of
Trying to be a house music producer, whatever.
yeah,
is,
like a freeloader, like wanting to be in a band sort of a thing, and I suppose you're led into the movie to kind of look at him and go like, look at this fucking piece of shit.
I know
like,
people like that music, but come on, like Sonny Moore becoming Skrillex from first to last. A lot of people don't know that, and then he's just like pressing buttons. Like it's funny because I could make any of Skrillex's music right now with AI. And that's just like sad how the music industry is going that direction. But you'll always want the real aspects of people's real vocals. But it's interesting that he's like the guy he's like a beat maker or whatever. He's like what's that, electronic music. And it's like that's like the hardest industry to get into unless you're like constantly doing clubs and stuff, and you're like, and then you just stand there and like Steve Aoki just pressing buttons. So
I mean, it'd be
weird.
pretty cool if you get a full-time gig just doing that.
I know, it's crazy. I still don't understand that. Like I get people like dancing to it, but I don't get how like people have gotten famous. Unless you're an actual DJ where you scratch records and are good at it, that's one thing. But just being like, look at what I made on Fruity Loops,
I mean, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't turn it down if I had the opportunity to do it.
So funny.
So yeah, the movie sets up codependency and emotional neediness as core themes before the supernatural elements even appear. There's a sense that the couple clings to each other not just for love but for identity and stability, a theme the body horror will literalize later, which I
Yeah.
love that about it. It's like it's giving you like the realistic version, and then you
Mhm.
kind of get like the horror elements and the creepy shit that's not real, but it all sort of comes full circle into why it's there.
Yeah, I know, right? And then it kind of gets to like where they're almost drawn to this forest during like the when they go hiking, and they it kind of like what happens. Interesting how she gets affected. It's obviously like through him in some regard, right? But they go through the forest and they see all these weird bells. That's a very cult, like because there there's a conspiracy about how they took down the bells in Europe and other places in these cathedrals and big churches, and how because you would ring these bells and these bells would give off a certain frequency and vibration that would ward off demons. And there's people that believe it even goes deeper than that, like these demonic like entities were like around Europe in medieval times and stuff like that, and they would ring these bells to like get rid of the dark energy and these people being possessed and all sorts of like strange things like that. So it's interesting that it has like this bell symbolism in it.
Yeah,
And
it's a
like, yeah.
unique kind of, and I do have something about that in a minute. If you want to take this one away.
Moving to a quiet rural setting is symbolic. It's supposed to be peaceful, but actually malignifies their unresolved issues. Oh, magnifies. Sorry about that. Magnifies their unresolved issue. Isolation shines a spotlight on what was already there. The opening includes eerie foreshadowing, like a prologue, right? With dogs that become. What? That sounds weird to me. Like a prologue with dogs that become fused after encountering a strange pool near the cave, a warning of the body horror to come. Yeah, that was weird, dude. Like when
Yeah,
the dog, they see the dogs or whatever, they go into the cave and they lick
they're
the
just like
water.
staring at each other.
Yeah, that shit was really weird. And then when the guy finds them, it's creepy. Like that to start the movie off like that was wild, man.
So the cave in the film's turning point and the source of everything that follows. While sheltering inside, Tim drinks from a pool of water marked with strange symbols, unknowingly triggering the supernatural force at the heart of the movie. By morning, their bodies begin to physically bind together, turning what seemed like a random accident into something deliberate and ancient. The cave appears to be tied to a forgotten belief system or cult centered around bodily union, making it less of a random horror location and more of a place designed to erase boundaries between people. It's where the film's themes of intimacy, dependency, and loss of identity first become literal, seemingly irreversible.
It's interesting because in like these like ancient cults and stuff like that, there's like the sacred marriage in Sumerian and Babylonian and Greek rites. Couples were joined not for love but for a complete cosmic function. The individuals were expandable. The union was sacred. The film reflects this by turning intimacy into obligation.
And it's like, it is on this, like I wrote down, it's like the best part of this movie are the underlying themes and what it really says about what it means to be a human, that yearning for connection that we all feel. When you find that connection, what does it really mean to be together, to be with somebody? Where is the line between closeness and completely losing yourself as a person? Um, and it is, and I've definitely been there in relationships where like you give yourself so much to something, and I'm not saying that you should be completely separate. Like I'm sure, I feel like you and Chelsea, I don't know your like intimate relationship, but like you kind of have
I tell
somewhat
you
of a
about it all
healthy
the time,
balance.
don't we? Off air, I'm like, we were having sex this way last night.
But I don't even mean like that. I mean in the sense of
kidding.
like it seems quite healthy that like you can still record shows and like still do music and stuff. And I've probably
It
done
gets
it to
tough. It
people.
gets tough. She doesn't like my music career.
Yeah, no, and I get that, right? But it's like to even be able to I don't know, in some terms maybe put up with certain things that maybe you don't like or you don't agree
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
Where I've done it to people where I've probably inadvertently, without realizing, changed them and controlled what they do or don't do, and vice versa. I've also fed into that where I like gave up everything that was my identity
Yeah, I
just to
agree.
make them happy. And like I feel like that goes nowhere fast, like because I don't think if you just gave up everything that you are for somebody, it bodes well for a long term healthy relationship. It ends up just exploding. It just
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't work out. Like,
Yeah, and then now society's pushing even more of like be with a bunch of people, right? And I think this union of being with like one person is more healthy in some regard, right? Where it's like the hookup culture, people are not finding what they're looking for because they have too many options, and that's what's like wrong with our society, right? Before you met a girl
yeah,
within your town, you fell in love, you had kids, and now it's like women, especially because it's much more easy. And it's not sexist, but like it is much more easy for women to find a man. They're always looking. There's always a dude out there looking for the puss, and it's like
hmm
try doing that as a guy, right? In the reverse of that. So there's someone who was talking about this recently, this idea of like Instagram and all that stuff. Especially women and stuff like that. Men obviously do this too, for sure, because there's like all these thought models and stuff like that, right? And then thirst traps, and they're always looking outside into a different world of different people and different options that are out there. And I think that actually destroys relationships. As much as the internet has
yeah,
brought
100%.
good, holy crap, has it brought a lot of negative stuff to real world situations and people.
And
Why
like,
are you
I'll be
following that
honest.
booty model? You know what I mean?
I'll be honest. Like, I have multiple times turned my life upside down
Mm,
over things like that without realizing,
yeah.
and not even necessarily like OnlyFans models or anything like that, but this
Yeah, I
constant
hope you
like,
don't pay for OnlyFans.
yeah, no, it's more like this weird connection with like what are other people my age in like my
Yeah.
area and stuff doing, or people I went to school with, or
Hmm.
look at this person that's doing this thing, and then all of a sudden I'm kind of, it's that thing of like, oh, well, I'm yearning for that now. I want to be doing that. And I'm willing to
Hmm.
like fuck my whole life up to get
Yeah, yeah.
some fake thing that doesn't exist in the first place.
Yeah, it's true. No, it's funny how much we're all alike and stuff like that. And it's just, I think everyone kind of goes through this, and I'm sure people have destroyed relationships and stuff like that. And that's why this movie is fairly good at depicting that.
Yeah. I honestly think that a movie like this is for anybody. Like this could be
Hmm.
like some like case study on like the human condition, I'll be honest, because
I know.
like the stuff it comes up with, and like this was another thing that I didn't realize was kind of helped with the basis for what they're talking about.
Hmm.
I don't know how much you know about this, but Plato's theory, Plato's soulmate theory, described by the playwright Aristophanes, is it? In the
Sure.
Symposium, posits that humans were once whole spherical beings with 4 arms, 4 legs, and 2 faces, but were split in two by Zeus as punishment, leaving everyone to eternally search for their other half to regain wholeness and feel complete. While this myth explains the deep yearning for connection and finding a perfect match, modern interpretations often blend with Plato's broader ideas on love, where true love transcends physical desire to reach spiritual beauty and wisdom. Though Plato himself viewed this missing half concept as a powerful but potentially immature view of love. Um, and there's like all this other stuff. You want to take some of this away?
So this is the myth of the other half. Jesus, other half. Original beings, humans were once powerful, unified, spherical creatures with 2 faces, 4 arms, and 4 legs. That's quite creepy.
It is actually. Not gonna lie.
There's an image of some, like an occult image of some weird spider creature like that. Zeus's punishment, fearing their strength, Zeus split them in half, creating the two-sexed humans we know today. So everyone's non-binary.
Don't say it.
So the search, each person now carries the longing for the other half, feeling incomplete until they find and reunite with them, experiencing immense joy and unity. Origins of love. This explains this intense attraction and desire to merge with another, as it's a search for a lost wholeness. And it's interesting. Plato's got some interesting ideas. The cave allegory is the best, but
There's and this is like the final kind of part I have on this. It's his view on his deeper view on love, Beyond the physical, Plato, through other speakers in the symposium, argued that love is a journey upwards from physical attraction to appreciation of beauty in souls, laws, knowledge, and ultimately the form of beauty itself.
I agree. And people that, people don't lie to yourselves. Physical attraction is the very first attraction. That's a fact. You can't be like,
100%. That's
it
the
is like, I
initial
find this
magnet.
person appealing looking.
Yeah, that's the initial magnet. But over time and over the years, right, of like looking for that, and then you realize if there's nothing below the surface, it starts to feel very empty and very shit. And it doesn't work. Spiritual connection, true love involves a profound connection that allows individuals to become their best selves, leading to philosophical understanding, not just physical completion. A higher calling. For Plato, this deeper love fosters contemplation of true beauty and wisdom, a goal far beyond merely finding a physical other half, which I thought
Well,
was...
it's interesting. That's why I'm like, the people that, don't want to have kids, always strange to me, right? Like, cause it's like, this idea of like the genetics and having like throughout thousands of years you're here because of them, and that's like kind of playing into this of like you find someone to create a new being and pass on your genetics that took thousands of years to refine and stuff like that, right? So I always find it. I know people don't have to have kids, but I do think that it's been pushed on society that's okay not to have kids, and I think that people should have kids. I think it's one of the best things you can do with your life. It's literally why you exist. In nature, in the animal kingdom, all that stuff. If humans have one purpose, it is to like keep your species going.
I'll be honest now, as I'm getting that bit older, I'm kind of like, I'd kind of like more kids. And like the only reason I would say that I probably didn't do it, outside of maybe some personal things that were going on, was like, there's I don't know if it's like a fear, like there's some logical aspect to it, like, because it's not something that was just in my head, but the cost of having multiple kids has become immense, and it starts to make it scary to be like, and my thought was always, do I want to bring another person into this world and not be able to give them a certain quality of life? Like, I don't want to. I see people that like live in my area that have like 20 kids and they just drag them up.
Yeah, and it's just sad. I think that's like part of a bigger conspiracy.
Oh yeah, 100% it is. But it's like that's how they're getting to you, if you know what I mean. Like that's how they get you to reconsider the idea of like.
Just remember, everybody, they tore down the Georgia Guidestones for a reason.
It's and it's unfortunate. Like the things like that happen.
Yeah, there's medieval alchemy sought the fusion of male and female principles to create rebus, a perfected being. Text warned that forcing this union too early might result in a monstrosity, not enlightenment, and that's kind of exactly what the film depicts too.
Yeah, and it's like, they go into the cave and obviously they're already a little bit fractured, and it's funny because they meet Jamie, the teacher guy who ends up being the cult leader or the cult member or whatever. Yeah. So I didn't know. I haven't seen this anywhere, but it was just something I personally picked up. I don't know if it's meant to be a thing, but I don't know if like the cave or whatever or the cult focuses on relationships that are already a little bit broken, and is that the way in the sense of like obviously the two of them are kind of on the rocks a little bit. There's cracks in the relationship already. Jamie, when he mentions that he used to be married and had a husband, and he was like, yeah, we were separated until we decided to come back together. So obviously they must have had a rocky relationship before they went through the fusion or whatever, which just made me, I was like, that's kind of interesting. I wonder, does a place like that cave or whatever only call out to people who are already suffering in the relationship, and it's like
forcing them together.
Yeah, kind of like, it's like, because there's common traits. They're like, and I've dealt with this just in relationships in general, afraid of being alone, so you're not sure if you should just like forget about it, afraid of change because you don't know any different, and then like that fear of like admitting that it's over. Like nobody wants to be the one to bring it up and be like, I think this is just like over.
I know. I remember crying on the phone when I was a
Oh,
teenager
dude.
to this girl, and it
It's
was like,
so
and her dad would answer, and I kept calling back, and it's just like, and it was so. I just remember laying on the couch, just fucking crying like crazy, and it's just like that's what love can do to you. And I remember. This is back when Walkmans were around. I remember I was like, oh, I still have my hymn CD. So I put my hymn CD in and smoked
You're like
cigarettes
drawing
out back.
heartograms on your arms. And all that.
It's like, it's the funeral of hearts.
But like, it's just, it isn't it crazy though when you think back to like all that stuff. Isn't there a Charles Bukowski quote or whatever where he says, you know, I try to get out of bed and I can't suffer or something like that. And he was like, and then I laugh and think of all the times I felt like this before.
Yeah, it's
And
true.
it is that thing. It's like you go through something like that. I remember being in those situations, like me and my son's mother at the time, when we split. Like I was like, my whole life is just done now. I don't like, and like I genuinely in my mind, I was like, I actually can't see like a week from now having to like function and live in reality without her. Like I don't know how I'm supposed to like do anything without her. And it's an interesting concept. Like.
Yeah, no, it's tough, right? And there's even historical alchemy imagery shows two bodies become one. This was symbolic and dangerous because if it was literalized, together presents the forbidden version, completion through annihilation of identity. And for those of you that don't know, that's what communism is all about, is destroying the identity. Yeah, there's some fucked up parts in this movie. It's just crazy. There's some of the legs stuck together is one thing, you know, but that scene where she comes back and because she's getting pulled towards it in the car, I think. And then when he was like, and he's like getting stuck to her and stuff, like it's so crazy. Like when they're trying to push away and they're like pushing out their feet and stuff. It's so fucked, you know.
To be fair to them, they were quite clever in the sense because don't they take muscle relaxants or something like that?
Yeah, that shit's crazy. Yeah.
But I was like, that's actually a really clever idea to do something like that to try and like relax so you don't. So it's like quicksand. You can't keep fighting against it or you'll just sink deeper and deeper.
Oh, I know. And then they take the muscle relaxant. That whole scene was crazy because he's being pulled out of his bed and like dragged towards her, and then you start hearing the knock on the door of like her coming and stuff like that, and like it's so messed up and how she's being dragged towards him and they're trying to like push their feet against each other to like get away from each. It's so crazy, dude. It's so clever. And then they have to like cut the skin off to like cut their arm. Oh, that's just, it's so messed up. Like, I'm gonna do it.
I was looking at some people on Reddit who like had some interesting takes where you know, they were talking about the cave and stuff. You mentioned the cave and like somebody was like in my opinion, the cave doesn't actually create any of these fears or do any of this necessarily. It amplifies everything that's already there. There needs to be a fractured relationship to begin with. Fusion seems to be the ultimate version of a relationship where being an individual is seen as a threat. Being apart seems like abandonment. Staying together is more important than being whole as a couple. The refusal to accept what is already happening, such as denial, can cause dire consequences in a relationship. Acceptance of what is key here. Acceptance of the truth. You cannot return to what you were. You can't stay unchanged. Pretending otherwise will destroy you, whether you like it or not. The film doesn't ever tell you which choice is right, only that avoidance is the real horror. Should love cost you your true self? Which is such an interesting thing. It's like, at what cost, like, should you...
Yeah, it's interesting because even like some of the mystery cults, like the Eleusinians and the Orphic rites, required underground descent, caves, darkness, and isolation. To symbolically kill the old self. These spaces were ritual chambers, not metaphors. So you see this with a lot of the occult practices of like these mystery schools. And then in alchemy, water dissolves from form before recombining. If done properly, deformation is permanent. The film uses water not as cleansing, but as irreversible breakdown. It's like interesting, right? Like in like this idea of like pre-Christian European unions involve blood, touch, and vow as fate-binding acts. Breaking the laws of bond was believed to destroy the soul. Love was secondary. Permanence was the goal. And obviously it would have been more like to have kids to create something, right?
it's oh man, the more I
That's
like,
such
the
an
more I
occult looking art too. On the
yeah,
yeah.
it's freaky, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But like the more I talk about it and the more I think about it, I'm like, it is such a like. Obviously, I know in a setting like this, it becomes kind of fantastical, and we get the cult aspect and all that stuff. But like, just the idea of that feeling where
Mm-hmm.
you, you get so close with somebody, and there, uh, like at what line does it cross from? When you're like obsessed with somebody.
Dependency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, at what point does it cross from like I remember you're in a relationship and it's all you're very all about it.
Mm-hmm.
You're always thinking about the person. You're always like it's all about them, and I want to be around them, and I want to have sex all the time, and I want to do all this stuff all the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and I want to hang out all the time. But at what point does it cross from that then to it's just something you become used to, and like you feel like you
Mm-hmm.
couldn't cope without them, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense? It's like it would be kind of like I guess chopping fucking limb off, or like you said, a lot of times, and like I went to therapy for years and stuff like that,
I did it.
and
I don't think it did anything. Mushrooms did more than therapy
I
for
went
me.
to cognitive behavioral therapy, which is the
Mm.
only therapy that ever I felt like helped me because they don't actually just massage your ego and go, "Oh my god, it's so bad." She
Mm.
basically just goes like, "Okay, so why are you such a bitch? What can
Mm.
you do to change your life and make yourself better and stop being a scumbag?" And like it made me kind of face all the things I was doing wrong to kind of
Yeah, yeah.
cause that.
Mushrooms
But
did that for me.
it was that thing where she was like saying to me, she was like, a lot of people might dismiss it, but going through some sort of like long term relationship breaking down or mother of your child or something like that in marriage is the closest thing you'll get to someone dying.
Yeah, it is
And it's
true.
like what you said at the start where you're
Mm.
like, you and Chelsea talked about like if we had to divorce or split, it's like a death.
Yeah, it would be. And
You're
there
like, what the fuck is this?
and
Like,
that it's so funny. Like when they're outside and she's being called back. Is that when because he already went to the cave and then he wants her to just embrace it? I can't remember because like he's trying to get her to do it and she doesn't want to. Or
no, so he was the only one that drank the water in the cave
yeah, yeah,
initially. So that's why
yeah,
he's all fucked up at first. And
mm,
she's like, what's going on with you? Like, why are you being so needy and just like a
yeah.
bitch?
It's
And then
sick
obviously when
looking.
she visits the dude in his house,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
he
And she
gives her a
sees the
glass of
tape.
water.
Yeah.
Before that, he gives
Oh
her a
yeah.
glass of water in the house. And I didn't realize at the
Oh.
time that was the water from the cave. So he was
Oh,
doing
that's
that
why
purposely.
she.
Yeah.
Oh.
I never grasped that till I watched it
Wow.
this time and I was like, that makes sense now. That's why
Because
all of a sudden after that she becomes
she
very like,
starts. Wow,
yeah,
that's
because they start
crazy.
like linking fingers and doing all that.
Yes, that
And then
shit's
she
weird.
starts to have like weird shit as well. And then like when they have sex in the
Oh
school
yeah, that's
bathrooms,
so.
that is gross, man.
Yeah, dude. I can't believe because I don't know if Chelsea was. I don't think she was. Maybe she was because like you can see his dick. When it's like it reminds me of Bad Grandpa. You know when he like sticks his dick in the vending machine and he like pulls on. The black guy's trying to help him pull his dick out of the machine because it like stretches like and it would that man for if you're a guy it would that's a not a good scene because I'm like are they gonna cut his dick off to get it out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's actually an interesting story behind that. So the director's wife worked, she was like some higher up in some big sex toy company.
Mm-hmm.
So she was able to get like the dildos and stuff for free, and they used to put like pubes on them and like CG skin around, so like they could stick that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty grim though, like, and I feel like it like it's not one of those things where they just it's not like a trauma movie where they're like, let's put a dick in and make it
Yeah.
just weird and stuff shooting out of it. It's like an actual thing where like within the world of the movie, you're like, oh my god, what? Like what is? Like you said, I was like, no way, they're gonna have to chop his dick off. I was like, Christ
I know.
Almighty, like that's my worst nightmare.
I know, because there's occult traditions describe egregores as non-physical beings formed by repeated emotional alignment. They have no face, only demand participation. This is interesting. And the force in the film behaves exactly this way. Historical cults emphasize doing the act, not understanding it. Gestures matter more than the faith. The film repeats evidence of others completing their right reflection in this kind of this communion that they have. It's together isn't inventing a new horror. It's echoing ancient ritual logic where unity destroys individuality. Love becomes a mechanism. Transformation without wisdom produces something inhuman.
The character of Jamie as well is really good. Like there's a lot of subtle hints. Um,
Is
it
that
looks like he
that creepy teacher?
yeah. So like at the start, it looks like he's hitting on her and stuff, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yes.
that's kind of fucking weird.
Mhm.
And then he's like, but then he seems super interested in Tim as well. He's all like
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
being
Yeah.
really nice, and you're like, what is going on with him? And then obviously they showed a bell outside of his house at one point, but you haven't really connected the dots that the bell has something to do with the cult. Um, he's also the one that mentions. I don't know if he says it outright, but he's like, "Oh yeah, a Greek myth about humans being born with multiple sets of limbs before being split in two." And then there's a really cool part. I thought the writing here was amazing. She asks him if he lives by himself, and he mentions his husband. And he first says something about being separated. And then he says, "Oh, we came back together." Or no, they came back and now we're together again. But we never see his husband. And then he's wearing it does a close up of his hand and he's wearing two wedding rings on the same finger.
Oh, so they're together.
And then obviously he's already undergone the fusion thing and she sees the videotape, which I thought was cool as well, like where we got to see little snippets of like them slitting their wrists and stuff and doing the weird handshake thing. And
Yeah, that's a Masonic thing too.
yeah, I thought that was cool though that they tried to kind of sprinkle that in and use something like that.
Blood rights, you know.
I think was he the one that told them about the trail when they had dinner together?
I think so. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a trail there. Yeah.
Yeah, because like, don't they mention something about wanting to hike or something? He's like, "There's a really cool trail you can go to and get fucking poisoned by water."
So when they're outside, isn't that when they start coming together? Or she's trying to? I can't remember what.
Outside the house.
Yeah, when he's like, it's a funny scene, kind of, because he's like, "We gotta do it" or whatever, and they're both like kind of freaking out.
I know, right towards the end, they kind of just accept.
Yes. Yeah.
Like what's going on, sort of, because doesn't she hits that cult leader dude over the head or whatever, but then he slashes her wrist.
Oh yeah.
Remember, she's bleeding out, and then like her and him are standing outside the house, and he's like, "Right, I'm gonna slit my throat, and then this will all stop. I'll be dead, and you can live on."
Yes. Yeah.
And then
that's
she's like,
crazy.
she shows him her arm is already slashed open, and it's not cut across, it's cut down her arm.
Yeah,
So like,
vertically.
there's no way to like fix that.
Horizontally for attention, vertically for results.
So it's like, then he decides to obviously put his hand over it, and it fuses and stops her from dying.
so
And then
fucked.
but it's that thing again though, right? Where we get back to, did he do it because he just felt guilty in the moment, or did he do it because he truly loved her and he couldn't see
I
anything
know.
happen to her?
The ending is wild though when they finally kind of accept it and they just like, they fuck.
It's it's crazy. Like, so you have some early symptoms when they get, I don't know, infected or whatever you want to call it. A constant pull towards each other. Emotional and physical dependency ramps up fast. Heightened intimacy that feels compulsive rather than romantic. Strange sensations in the skin, such as tingling, warmth, pressure, especially after exposure to cave water. Discomfort when separated, anxiety, irritability, almost withdrawal like. Then we go to stage 2, which is skin irritation and rashes, often where the bodies touch most. Mirrored pain. One partner feels aches or injuries the other should have. Loss of personal boundaries, shared sleep patterns, shared thoughts, finishing each other's sentences. Sex and touch stop feeling connected and start feeling mechanical or necessary. That's kind of like what you talked about a minute ago. About it's just there for the purpose of this. It has nothing to really do with like the feeling or whatever. And then you have your late stage, your, I guess, just pre-fusion point of no return. Skin bonding, bodies literally begin sticking together. Severe body distortion and swelling, panic and nausea when attempting to separate, a sense of inevitability. They know something is coming even if they can't name it. And you kind of get that vibe like as it goes on. you can tell that they're like, I guess.
Guess we just gotta do this. It's either die or do this, essentially.
And that's the thing, because it's like one of us has to die, or potentially if we try and stop this from happening, we could end up looking like these people.
Oh yeah, because they're
in the
just
cave.
rejecting it. Yeah.
If you want to read some of that.
They're the physical embodiment of the relationship where one person wants out and the other doesn't. A relationship stuck in limbo, literally rotting because no clear choice was made. Unlike Tim and Millie, they didn't fully commit to merging. One of them tried to pull away and stop the process. The result is a failed fusion, a grotesque half-formed body where neither person is whole. Instead of becoming one, they become trapped in a state of constant pain and decay, unable to separate or complete the transformation, which is scary because essentially they're just stuck like that, not fusing, because obviously one of them didn't want to commit to it. And then I would just be like, put a bullet in my head, you know?
Yeah, because I think if you look on the top image, in both images actually, if you really look, there's a knife sticking out of the left one's neck.
Oh, yeah.
So I imagine they probably tried to kill themselves mid
Yeah, that's crazy.
fusion. And like, again, the director talks about this. He was like, and that's literally a metaphor for a relationship where one person, like you said, maybe the other person is having feelings or thinking something and you're not aware of it.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
crazy.
you could
That's
be really happy or you could be really content and fulfilled, and the other person.
It's a
could be like,
creepy looking thing. I didn't know if I was like, I really liked it, but I'm like, it's practical at least. I'm like, it looks messed up. Like at
yeah,
first I
like
was
it
what the
gives
fuck is
me
that thing?
The Thing vibes.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that's the director's favorite movie of all time, I think. So that's where some of that stuff came in. And I did appreciate he tried to go practical as much as possible, because like this movie had a tiny budget. He done a lot of the VFX and stuff for this out of his own, like for
He did
free.
a great job. I think it's one of the better horror movies out there when we get to rating it soon. But
Do you know what's really sad?
what?
This movie only made $32 million worldwide.
How is that possible?
I know, right? I know.
I hope it gets in a cult following.
So do I, and I have a
Cult
feeling.
following, no,
I have a feeling it's going to. I want to say it's up for some awards soon. There's a
It's
couple
very
of award shows
different and
coming up.
very unique, and it's probably will do well, I'm sure, once people like realize it's there. Maybe because I didn't see a lot of promotion for this.
Yeah,
I think you
it
kind
it
of
was
told
for
me that-
like a week or two, but then it kind of went away pretty quick, and I was like, that's kind of unfortunate, because I really do think this deserves a bigger audience.
Yeah, and yeah, and the ending is just that shit is just wild, man. Like when they finally start to fuse, and it looks fucking weird, dude. And like they're like, yeah, let's just fuck, and you know, let's get to it. Let's just do this, and then it's like they start to like get into it. They're having sex. It's nice, and then his hand slides under her skin, and then like when they start fusing and stuff, it is It's quite, yeah, it's in that end scene, dude, when he comes to the door, he, she, they, them, whatever the fuck that thing is, like I was like, what the fuck? And how it ended like that, I was like, hey, or whatever. And it was just, even me and Chelsea were like, what the fuck? That's so weird.
That's actually really clever though. So that's a mix of practical and digital composites, which they named during the filming Tilly, which is a mixture of Tim and Millie, obviously.
It is so weird looking. I can't see where Dave's face ends and hers begins.
Yeah, so what it is right, it's Alison Brie. She was filmed wearing a wig, and she had prosthetics of Dave Franco's eyebrows on and brown contacts in, right?
Yeah.
And then after that,
Yeah.
they had him with the blue dots for like the CG shit. And then they went in and they CG'd his jaw and lips onto her face.
Weird.
So it's like a weird
looking.
mix of the two of them, which must be really weird for them as a married couple. That like
Who's
they
that guy,
can look at
James
that
Blunt?
and
You
go,
know that guy's like, "You're beautiful."
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
it is unsettling though. Look, it has like a
so
weird like uncanny valley sort of thing. I'm looking at. I'm like, I can't make out. Like it's such an odd looking human.
when it ended like that, I was like, "Oh, that was like, that was great, bravo!" Like that was a good movie. I enjoyed it. It was weird. It was different, and this ending of like, "Hey, imagine trying to explain that to your family." So we're just one person now. Like, what if they want to get in a relationship? You know what I mean? Does he have a dick and a vagina?
It's because I wrote down. I was like, at the start of the movie, I felt like they should just end it at this point. It doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. But by the end, it's somewhat hauntingly beautiful. The decision they made together out of love for each other. And then, as I was sitting there, I was like, actually, or is it? I'm not sure if this is a happy or a sad ending, depending on how you
I
look at
know
it.
it is a weird. It is weird. It's different. Like,
Because have they, like, okay, you could say, well, he done it and he saved her from dying, and then they're together forever now. But have you lost yourself in the process?
yeah, I know, right?
Now are
It is
you?
weird.
Because now you're not either person. You're not Millie and you're
You're a
not
new
Tim.
person.
You're this new person. But is there any part of you left,
I know it is weird.
or are you just gone? Like I thought the concept was great, the vision was great. You can tell like that everybody working on this had like super passion for it as well, um, which I thought was really good. And I was like, yeah, we need more movies like this. And we also need to, make sure we go out and support movies like this and, tell other people about them, like what we're doing right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a great experience with this in the
So
cinema,
did
to be
I.
honest.
Oh, that would have been
Um,
sick. I would have been
so,
wigging out
right.
probably.
Yeah, right. When I went to see this, it was very kind of under the radar. I'll be honest, I wasn't super excited. I hadn't seen the trailer. I only seen I think it was the poster with the two eyes like
Yeah, yeah.
close to each other. I was like, maybe
That
this is
shit was
interesting.
wild too, where they're like,
And I was like, oh, maybe it's like, I was like, something to do with relationships. I was like, that sounds a bit fucking gay. I was
yeah,
like, I don't really care about this.
gay.
Honestly, it reminded me of like the 90s and early 2000s when you would rent movies that you didn't really know anything about.
Yeah,
And it was so refreshing to go into a movie, not know what to expect, and then be blown away and walk out going, wow, that was fucking, I
yeah,
love
that
when
was
I don't know
crazy.
every, I love when I don't know every single, when you get 14,000 trailers and like everything has to be spoiled
Yes.
before you see it.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
so
I
funny
kind of
because
rather not do
when
that.
it ended, I was like, I don't get that like where you're like want to stand up. Like that was actually good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Out of I don't even know what you'd out of 10 morph dogs into I don't know, some creature. I don't know. I don't know.
Jeez,
Out of
I'm giving this a 9.
out of 10 ding dong bells.
I'm giving this a 9.
Yeah, I'll give it a 9. It's pretty incredible. I like
Yeah.
it. So
It is, like, it really is. It's kind of under the radar. If you haven't checked it out and for some reason listened to this episode and had the whole movie spoiled on you,
yeah. Go watch it.
definitely go and watch it. Even if you know the whole movie, I think you'll still have fun with it because there's a lot of stuff there that is under the radar. There's one really quick thing I want to cover at the end, and maybe people will see this as being negative, but something I just want to talk about really, really quick. So in May of last year, an independent production company called Studio Fest filed a copyright infringement lawsuit in California against Together's creative team, including co-stars and producers Dave Franco and Alison Brie, writer-director Michael Shanks, their talent agency WME, and distributors Neon. The suit claims that Together unlawfully copied a 2023 film called Better Half, written and directed by Patrick Henry Phelan, which Studio Fest produced and owns the rights to. Better Half was optioned by Studio Fest and pitched to Franco and Brie's agents at WME in August 2020 with an offer for the couple to star in it. Together later featured Franco and Brie in a very similar concept. Both films center on a couple whose bodies become physically fused together as a metaphor for codependency, and the complaint highlights alleged similarities in plot, themes, characters, mood, and even specific narrative elements, such as references to Plato's Symposium and shared thematic uses of music moments. Studio Fest lawyers described Together as a blatant ripoff that stole virtually every unique aspect of their earlier work.
Weird.
Yeah, this is a weird one. The defendants argue Together was independently created and that any overlap is based on broad ideas that aren't protected under any copyright, like the general concept of two people fusing together. Together's writer-director Michael Shanks says his script was completed and registered, this is important, with the Writers Guild of America in 2019, a year before Better Half screenplay was even pitched to Franco and Brie's reps. And
So
that his
maybe
personal,
they stole it.
this is the thing, and that his personal experiences influenced the story. In legal filings, their lawyer also argues that the two films differ in tone and genre. Better Half being lighter in style, while Together is a supernatural body horror, and maintains that references like Plato or music choices are generic or coincidental. and I don't really think there's been much
Interesting.
more
Yeah,
about
weird.
it. But it's kind of funny to see someone kind of jump on something like that. But it's kind of gone away. I don't know if it's settled, but it's
Yeah.
just kind of gone away.
Too
That's not to
bad,
take away
but
from it.
I made it
It's
first.
it's I feel like though if the movie wasn't well received, you
Yeah.
probably wouldn't try and do that. It's only the
No.
fact that the movie was so good. It was like, hey, maybe you stole my good idea.
Yeah, it could be, man. Could be. Yeah, so everyone make sure to support the show on Patreon. You can buy some merch at our T Public site. All those links should be in the bio, you know what I mean? So make sure to support the show. It means a lot. Share it, like, comment. If you see this on YouTube or Rumble, I'm pushing Aaron to put some more stuff on Rumble or Spotify, wherever you are. You know, give us a 5-star rate and review, comment something. You can give us ideas for episodes or things you would like to see us cover. There's a bajillion movies I've mentioned to Aaron over the last couple of years that I still want to do, like People Under the Stairs. There's a scary movie with Billy. Like, we have a lot of ideas to do stuff, but we have some fun stuff coming this year. But I have so many ideas for movies. And for all the fans out there, there's so many movies I want to do that are not horror that I feel like we could blend into off-brand episodes, because there's just stuff I want to talk about where I'm like, this is just an enjoyable movie. We need to we are like a entertainment kind of podcast. So talking about some other entertainment might be interesting, you know?
And also anything we say is it's just jokes. Don't be getting all
Yes.
super offended. Like I used the term gay earlier. It's not a
Yes.
big deal. It's
No,
fine.
no. I grew up in the 90s, man. We used to
Yeah,
say
that's
the
just the
word
dumb shit we used to
Riri
say.
and stuff, or whatever they.
You know, it's just like whatever. But yeah, once you finish listening to this episode, have a good hard think about your relationship with your other
Yes.
half and what it truly means to be together, and whether maybe you should just break up after listening to this episode. Maybe you should go and say, Tom and Aaron told me to break up and we need to just upend our whole lives.
Dun dun dun.
Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I hope everybody enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you very soon.